Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. This side Chartered Accountant Ashwini Bhanushali, your faculty for ATX. So I just welcome you all and let me once confirm whether we are live or not. Just give me a minute. So yes students, we are live and yes, I am welcoming you all once again because yes, today we are at almost in the best position where we are going to solve something which is very important for you guys. So what is the most important thing that you have to do it prior to your examination? So I know most of you must be very much eager to learn and to practice the questions. So yeah, what type of questions shall we practice before I give the real exams? So yes students, today we are going to solve the most important stuff, that is nothing other than the mock papers. So students, is really mock paper relevant for you, or it is just something like, okay ma'am, if we solve paper it's fine, otherwise ma'am it's okay if we don't solve? Students, if I want to clear my papers, my first responsibility and my first priority should always be to solve the past papers. So why solution of the past papers is always like all the tutors, like from wherever you guys you would have studied obviously. So you know past papers are the most important thing that we are supposed to solve. So why all the tutors give you so much of emphasis कि do the past papers, do the past papers. Because students, if I have already did the past papers, that is for sure I am having that top notch that okay, like this type of questions can come in the examination. Means it is nevertheless the first time when I'm seeing such difficult paper. No. And to be very frank students, papers are not difficult until unless our strategy. Yeah. So subject we know, right? Before I give examination, I have covered my thorough subject. So like complete knowledge I'm having it. But then why it happens? Yeah, most of the students tell me, okay ma'am, whenever we go to write the examination, we feel like blank. So why is this blank position coming? It is just because students, we are having a lag of practice. And most of the people will do the material, they'll do the ACCA resources. But I want, like before I go and the position to write the paper, I would have at least given one or the two papers at least, or maybe three, four papers at least in the mock. And that is not something कि okay baba, I'll just see the question paper and I'll have the answer kit and I'll just go through it like audits, I'll do it. No. You are supposed to write each and everything. And that is what today we are going to solve it. We are going to write the paper. Like you have heard it correct. We are going to write the papers. So I'll give you the real scenario. Okay, real scenario like how it is visible in your paper and how you're going to attempt it in your paper. And this is what will make you feel so much of confident that I am so sure that if you write like this two, three papers are like no one can beat you. No one can beat you in the terms of knowledge. No one can beat you in the terms of language that you write. And you know what? It is not something like out of 100 students, if 50 students pass or 40 students pass, the remaining 60 don't know the answer. It's not that. Guys, it's not that. Maybe 10% student will not be knowing the answer, but 40% who fails does not know how to interpret the answer and how to write the answer, and that is what we are over here. And I am so sure that whosoever is watching this video, your conceptual clarity must be there, and if not, we are going to solve it understanding some concepts show. Okay, so yeah, without any further delay, let's just begin with the mock paper. So we know before we give the examination, we are supposed to practice the mock papers in your CPE platform, isn't it? So I'm going to show you guys the CPE platform on which we are supposed to practice. Okay, so if you can see it, students, I have already opened up a scenario for us, which would be very much helpful. Over here, I am having one of my students' login ID and password. So as you must be having your own login ID and password. So students, we are supposed to just click on our user ID and password up to next, yeah, on my acca.global.com. So yeah, students, on that, I'll get to see the CBE platform. Okay. After getting the CBE platform, I just need to click on my subject on which I want to give the examination for. Let's take it ATX. After clicking on to ATX, students, I will be clicking on to my paper which I am going to give. So students, we are not going to give the blank workspace, okay? And we are going to give the UK variant. If I click on the UK variant, I'll be having my ACCA official resources. In that, I'll be either having my past exam papers, practice exam and specimen. So today, we'll be doing one past exam paper which I will assign to myself. So students, please take a due care. We are going to do this paper. That is ATX UK, March, June 2022. Please do take care. We are going to do this. So I have assigned myself. If I have assigned this paper to me, where it will be shown. If you can see, it is assigned in the self-assigned materials. If I'm just checking it, the assigned materials, where am I getting it? If you can see my assigned materials, it will be over here in the past and practice exam in your left hand side. And this is the paper which I have given. So I'll just start the paper. Okay, before I explain anything else, I just want to have a word with you guys. So if you have seen my first lecture, it's pretty good. If you haven't, I would like you to just see my first paper, my first session of this revisionary series, where we have taken up a concepts like what to study, from where to study, how are we going to practice the things. So that's the reason I'm not taking so much of consideration into how we are doing the logins and all everything. Okay, so that is something I presume that you guys know it. Okay, so before I go ahead, okay, just I'll try to develop the answers for you guys. Okay, students. So over here we are having the paper which is worth 100 marks. So yeah, ma'am, we are having 100 marks paper. But are we going to write for 100 marks? That is the main thing. So students, we know that we are not going to attempt for 100 marks. Therefore, how many marks we are going to attempt? Yes, we are just going to write for 80 marks, securing 100 marks. So you will be asking if you would have never given the papers, or you would have never seen. So students, at 20 marks are for your professional markings. Out of which, okay, yeah, out of which the first question, which is compulsory, just it's a one question, which is worth 50 marks. Out of that 50 marks, I have to only write for 40 marks. Okay, and there was something which we just generalize it. So here we are just going to do some papers in which we'll be having the professional markings also. We'll be having some general markings also. So we are now in this paper we have taken up with the 4 questions. Okay, so we'll be having section A and section B. So I'm just going to try to solve some questions over here, and I hope that you guys are in the position to just see it. Is it clearly visible? So now normally what other tutors do, yeah, they just take up the notes. Yeah, they just take up the notes. They'll take up the answers and they'll just show you out. But over here, see, to do that, nobody is gonna like take up the time. I know. I'm so pretty sure that even you can do it, yeah, but I want us to develop the answer. I want to formulate the answer. Why do I want to formulate the answer? Just because you yourself will not do it unless until somebody is there on your head to just govern you, isn't it? Yeah, this is what even I used to do it when I was a student. I wanted someone to please guide me. So yeah, I am a chartered accountant and the youngest chartered accountant, like as such. So when I was giving my chartered accountancy examination, there was a super COVID, due to which we never had any sort of classes and all. So even I have studied, students, even I have studied uh, everything through online. So I understand what YouTube is, and over here we are sort of privileged. We get to see on the classes like everything, whatever we want, on the tip of the tongue. Why? We will never feel alone, because we'll feel when we are doing some professional courses, students, we don't have an ample of students around us. We don't have ample of friends around us who will tell us, okay, Baba, chalo na, we'll read this. So we'll read that. If it is college, we have group studies, Baba. Otherwise, it's just we who are getting connected, isn't it? So yeah, we'll be together, we'll be solving a lot of questions, and yes, without having any further delay, let's just start with section A. So here it is something which is old questions, so no worries, we'll be still doing it. And I think it's clearly visible, the first question. I hope it's clearly visible. Otherwise, what I can do is I'll just make it, I'll drag it more. Yeah, this is the format. I am so pretty sure that you would have already seen this format prior. Okay, just let me see whether it is clearly visible or not. Otherwise, I have already formulated all the stuffs in your um Word, but I don't want to show it in the Word. I want to show like how it has been seen in the paper. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I think like it's clearly visible, and I'll not be coming up so much. Otherwise, I saw like I'm on the half of the page, so I don't want to come so much because I don't want to cover the screen. Yeah, what is important is the question. Yeah, maybe if I'll be out, it's okay, pretty cool. Chalo. So yeah, this is a question. Yeah, so you'll be provided with the questions, and yeah, we know okay, there will be certain exhibits over here. In the left hand side, we have some exhibits, which is memorandum extract. Some emails are given, and the requirements is there. So this is the first question that we are going to do it, which is worth 35 marks. Okay, and a word processor and the spreadsheet for us to write the answers. Cool. So this is how I go ahead. Every student has its own perspective to write the answers, but I am the one who is going to start it from the requirements. So I normally check the requirements. What have they asked us? So these are the requirements. If you can see, I'll just drag it. Yeah. So you should assume that today's date is something 1st Feb 2023. Okay, cool. Prepare the memorandum as requested in the email from a manager. The following marks are available. So something is given. And last, professional markings will be allotted. Yeah, for the approach that we are going to show it. Okay, and that will be 4 marks. Okay, cool. So we don't write it for 100 marks as I told you. We just write it for 80 marks and secure 20 marks if I wrote that answers professionally. Because students, this is very important that your answer needs to be how? Your answer needs to be impressive. Your answer should not be like your examiner should not feel you are a student and you are writing your answer as a student. No. He wants you to write the answer as a professional. So to show him, yeah, we are professionals, we have to write it professionally and secure some beautiful marks. Okay. Now, what's the question? We'll just read it. Some first in A point, which is 5 marks worth, becoming tax advisor to Olma. Okay, so somewhere we have to give the tax advice. Sale of shares in BG Limited. So okay, maybe I'm gonna sell some shares and like maybe I'll have some capital gains and I don't know. Like I haven't seen the question. So yeah, we're just going to do it. Okay. Then we'll be having something about cafe business. Okay, so some business they're talking about. Oh, which is the chapter? Yeah, voluntary registration for the purpose of VAT. So some concept of VAT we are going to hit it, and the loss planning. One of the favorite question of examiner, which is worth 14 marks. So please take care. This loss planning I have seen in huge a lot of examples, and students, people have a phobia. Okay, ma'am, this is very hard. And it isn't. It is not hard. It's easy. It's easy. It's pretty easy. So yeah, we are just gonna do the question. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna write everything now, so I just want a proper place to write. All my bottles and all will not work here. Cool. Chalo. So without having any further delay, I don't want the pad also for today. I will not write it in the pad. We will just formulate it, the answer. Okay. Chalo. So after reading this, I just have to close it and I have to read first of all what I will read it. Guys, I will read first of all the story. No, I'll just read the background, what is presented in the question. So yeah, without having any further delay, let's just start. Okay. So over here, initially the first question many a times now we have to write a format. We have to show them catch this is the way I'm going to tell to somebody, or maybe I have some report writing, maybe I'll have some notice, which I have to put an eye on. Okay, okay, Baba, you have to do this. So we are just supposed to explain them. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll just keep things on silent. So yes, students, now we are at a position where we can solve the first question, which is again very important. So what they have asked us, you should assume today's date is 1st Feb 2023. Okay, cool. Your manager, okay, so my manager had a meeting with Olma. Okay, so Olma will be a person, maybe. Let's see. So your manager had a meeting with Olma, a potential new client of your firm. Okay, it's a new client of our firm. Olma has recently ceased the employment and have started a new unincorporated business. Just understand. Just understand. What have they asked us? Okay, we are a manager. We are a person who are going to give some advices, and my client is Olma, who has just recently started up with a business. So cool. That means what? It's a firm, and there is one client. Yeah, her name is Olma, and her or whatever it is. And yeah, Olma has recently started up with a company or some incorporation, which is basically an employment, and that is ceased employment. Ceased means Olma has recently ceased employment. That means Olma would be working somewhere and he or she must have left the premises and now has started a new company. Okay, new business. So extract of the memorandum prepared by our manager following the meetings and from an email for her detailing the work she requires you to do what? Okay. So what are the things which I have to give an eye on? Okay, so it's my responsibility to report on what things. So they have been told that the work to be carried out in the respect of what? I have to reply on what things. So let's see what are the things which I have to give an answer for. Our firm becoming the tax advisor of Olma. Okay, so I have to be the tax advisor of Olma. Cool. Then a company's purchase of own shares. So there is one company who is purchasing its own shares. If a company purchases its own shares, is it not something like a buyback of the shares? So yeah, maybe that can be governed. Then a voluntary registration for the purpose of VAT. Okay, so we can register the VAT also voluntarily because we know sometimes some company have some threshold limits. If it increases the turnover, then yeah, they have to compulsory register. But there are certain companies who on their own wants to get registered because they feel that if they get registered, they'll be having some benefits or whatever. So they want to get themselves registered. So yeah, we'll just keep them. Last, the reliefs available in respect of trading losses, which is very important, trading losses. So if you saw, there are certain questions. The questions that we saw, all questions we have to report on. So yeah, these are certain works which we have to carry on and which we have to report on. Cool, very easy. Now the following two exhibits are there available on the left hand side. First, memorandum extract from your manager dated on 1st Feb 2023. Okay, so right now, like on 2023, the memorandum has been given and that will give you some extract. So yeah, we'll be doing that. And last, email extract from your manager. Okay, so we got some email and there will be certain things which we have to keep an eye on. Then the information should be used to answer the questions and responses. So need not worry, so you'll be using it and just answering the question. Okay. Now, after completing that, students, I am supposed to read the first memorandum of your question. What's the memorandum extract? So I just saw the memorandum extract. Okay. I think it's clearly visible. Yeah. So in the memorandum of the extract, what's the first? In the view of the changes. Okay. So I'll just now give you a hint. Whenever there is any memorandum or whenever there is any first exhibit, normally the first exhibit has to explain something about the company. They'll be giving you a background of the story and all. Okay. So yeah, with that overview, let us start. In the view of the changes to her financial affairs. Okay, in the view of the changes to her financial affairs, company is talking about that there are certain changes to her financial affairs. Means Olma has invited us to replace her existing tax advisors. So because of certain changes, Olma wants to change it. Cool. So what is the situation of Olma? So if you see the background of Olma, on 1st November 2015, what Olma has given, Olma purchased 2000 of the 10,000 equity shares of BG Limited. But on which date? Today's date is 2023. They have purchased, that Olma has purchased way back in 2015. How many shares? 2000 out of 10k. That means is it not 20% of holding of BG Limited? Yes. That is 20% of BG Limited's holding Olma has purchased. For how much? For 40,000 pounds she has purchased for 40,000 pounds. Okay. And on the same day, begin working as a restaurant manager for the company. Okay, so she was working as a restaurant manager. BG Limited owns and operates a number of restaurants. Okay, so they are having a hell number of restaurants and also it's cool. Now what happened about Olma? Olma worked for BG Limited from 1st November 2015 till 30 September 2022. Okay. If you can see which is the date when she started her job or employment. If I can just see the work she started was from which was the date? What was the date? Okay. See, she has started the work from 1st November. And on the same date, if you can see, she has taken up the shares also on 1st November 2015. Cool. So she has started from this to this date. Okay. So right now if you see, it's 1st Feb 2023 as per the question. So this is somewhat date later on. Let's see. However, she has took unpaid leave for the personal reason. So she has taken up how much unpaid leave, on which she has taken a leave, but it's not paid. From 1st September 2019 until 31st August 2020. So don't you think it's a couple of 1 year? Yeah, let's see. On 30 September 2022, that is on the date when she left the company, 30 September, Olma ceased her employment with BG Limited in order and to start an unincorporated cafe business. So initially she was working in some restaurant, and now after a couple of years, like 2015 till 2020, 2015 till 2022, afterwards she is tired and now she has started her own business school. Okay. Olma has always been a resident in UK for tax purpose. Okay. From 1st November 2015 till 30 September 2022, till the date when she was working with the employer, her only source of income was her salary, and that is also 6,700 pounds per month. Okay, cool. So she was getting only salary. She was not having any other source of income. Okay, that is clearly visible, understandable. Okay. But when she left on 30 September 2022, then it was 1st October. So since 1st October 2022, her only source of income has been the trading income. Okay, because now she has started up with the cafe. And once she had started up with the cafe, she'll be owning the income only from the cafe business. Means she is not having any other income. Okay, cool, very cool. Now what happened? Sale of shares of BG Limited. Okay. So over here now, if you can see, you have completed the first part. So what was the first part? Some story background was given. So that I successfully understood. Now they have given some share. Sale of shares. Which shares? Oh ma'am, I got to know that on 1st November 2015, she has purchased 20% of shares in BG Limited. And when she left, she wanted to sell all her shares. Cool. So what happened? Sale of the shares in BG Limited. If you can read it. Yeah. Following disagreements with other shareholders, she was not so much of agreeing with other shareholders of BG Limited in relation to the further direction of the business, Olma decided to leave the company and sell the shares also. So she was wondering, it's better now, okay, I don't want to stay in the company, I don't want the company share also. I will start my own cafe and I'll be very much successful that way. So Olma sold all her 2000 shares to whom? To the company on 15th October 2022 for £150 via the company's purchase of their own shares. Olma will claim the business assets disposal relief. Oh, you get to know something. What it is. Olma sold how much shares? So Olma was initially having 2000 shares, like 20%. So what she is going to do? She'll definitely say, so if I am having shares and if I am selling, it is not my capital gains. Yes, it is. It is my capital gains. But what about that company? So for that company, it is like a buyback. Yes. Agreeing? Pakka? Sure. So it is something like company for company, it is like a buyback only. So company has to take. But when you understand from the Olma's perspective, so for Olma, it is a business asset, and yes, she gets a relief and 10% of CGT in respect of sale, 10% of CGT. Okay, now what? Now what? Up next what? They have given about Olma's cafe business. Okay, so she's having the cafe business, yeah. So this was all about whatever the stuff was. It was till the date when she was in someone's employment, yeah. And then she was only getting up a salary till that date. And now what she had did it. So she sold also all the shares. Now what happened about Olma's cafe business? In the Olma's cafe business, so now once she has left the job, like she's not doing, now she has set up her own cafe. And now what happened? So she may be having some turnover or whatever it is. She wants to get registered to VAT. So we need to know the concepts. Okay, ma'am, when you say about the VAT, now we know. Okay, for some of the companies, if the turnover in the preceding year, etc., 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 was more than 85 pounds, 85,000 pounds, you have to compulsorily get registered. And some re-registration of 83. Yeah, ma'am, we know that. Then you know one thing, in some food items, or maybe so not just food items, for goods and services, there are certain rates for what, for VAT. Yeah. So when I say, so when I say the normal standard rate, we know okay, normally a standard rate is 20%, which is very common. Yeah. We know okay, the normal rate is 20%, and we are so pretty sure for that. And there are certain goods and services on which there is no tax, like, or maybe there are certain exempt goods. Yeah, there are certain 0%. Yeah, so if you have doubts, please check the video on which I have taken up some bad concepts also. I don't know. I feel like something is itching. Sorry. Now I'll try to not like have. Okay, I'll just try. Okay, yeah. So yeah, just let's read further. So the budgeted over here. So they are having some voluntary registration for the purpose of VAT, value added tax. Budgeted revenue figures indicate that OLMA will be required to register for VAT with effects from 1st September 2023. So if you just see the figures, budgeted on the sales revenue or something like budgeted figures, if you see that OLMA will be required to register for VAT with effect from 1st September 2023. So if you see, when did she left the employment? If you see, she has left the employment on 30 September 2022. 30 September 2022. But what happened over here? Budgeted figures shows that she will be required. Means what? Will be means, yeah. After 1 year, when I saw some budgeted figures, I feel like okay. I feel like Olma's business, that cafe business, will exceed the turnover, so she has to compulsorily get registered. On which date? After 1 year. But compulsory registration after 1 year is expected. Okay. However, depending on the financial implications, Olma is considering registering voluntary at an earlier date. Means if I'm just seeing the budgeted figures and all, so I'm so sure that Olma has to get registered compulsory on 1st September. But if I just see, considering okay, it has to register, so Olma what thought, okay, why to get compulsory register? It's better before I reach that turnover, let me voluntarily get registered. And yes, voluntary registration is also allowed. It's not that it's not allowed. So what she thought like, okay, let me do it earlier only. So this is in the order to give an impression that the cafe is more established than in reality. Hey, what is this? Yeah, so some of the companies get registered in VAT and GST just to show to the people, yeah, okay, we are also at a position that we are going to make a sales, we are going to give you budget. Arey Papa, it's just for making up the reputation. So that's the reason she is doing, and it is not any which way is wrong also. See, if it was wrong, definitely the government, the government would have not came up with the concept of voluntary registration. So we know that voluntary registration is also valid. All the supplies made by Olma's cafe business and are standard rated supply. Now, these lines is very important. So what it is, whatever supply Olma is doing are all standard rated for VAT. So if I just like try to recall the concepts, okay, there are certain rates on which we have to pay taxes. For example, it can be nil rated tax on which there is 0% tax. There is exempt supplies on which we don't have taxes. There are standard rated, means yeah, the tax rate of the VAT is going to be 20%. Sometimes there are some reduced rates that are 5%. Students, you should recall it. So what they have to, whatever output it is doing, like see, all the supplies, who is going to make a sale? Olma's cafe business are at standard rate. Okay. So whatever sales Olma is going to make at the rate of VAT plus 20%, means whatever the selling price plus 20%. Okay. On 1st December 2022. So if you see what is the date, see, as per the situation, she should have a compulsory registration with. If you if you see the dates on 1st September 2023, it is compulsory. But now what is the date today? If you see the dates, it is written over here. Yeah, all the supplies are there on 1st December 2022, which is way back. Yeah, on December. So I'm at December, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Oh my god, so prior. Okay, prior, what happened? Olma purchased furnitures and equipments. Okay, the company, like the Olma, has purchased some furnitures and equipments for use in the cafe. Okay, so she has taken up on the for the use of cafe. So we know, if I have purchased something which is personally for my company, and that too business, and if it is a purchase, and if on that value added tax is applicable, if I have already paid VAT, I can take a credit on purchases, right? So maybe I can take a credit on purchase. So let's see, and that is 8,000, and what it is written excluding VAT, so it's not including. So again I have to add on some percentage of VAT on that. Okay, cool. The principal recurring cost incurred by the cafe. So what are the normal costs the company incurs? See, when it is cafe, we know okay, there will be some food expenses, there will be some people whom I'll be serving and all those stuffs. So the principal recurring costs incurred by the cafe are employment cost. Okay, so they have to employ a lot of people. Then food and rent in respect of business premises. Okay, fine. Now this is very important line. So when I'm taking some purchases or cost, see, just listen, huh? If I'm purchasing something, if I'm incurring the cost, on that, if VAT is applicable, only for that amount I can take credit, not anything else. So what they have told, the purchase of the food are zero rated taxed. Means whenever I'm a hotel industry, right? So if I'm purchasing anything or cafe, so food which I have to purchase it, it is my purchase, right? Okay. On that, no tax. Okay. And if you see the rent, and the rent is exempt from the purpose of VAT. Oh my god. So means whatever expenditure I'm doing, I am not paying any taxes. If I'm not paying any taxes, just think, will you have any input tax credit? Ma'am, no input tax credit. If you don't have any input tax credit, that means whatever you are making up a sale, you are ultimately charging it from customer, right? So that much only amount you have to contribute it to government, then why have you taken up this? Means if it's a normal VAT, somewhere I have to pay to government, somewhere I have to collect. So collection payable, I can just net it off and pay to government. There is input and output credit I can take. But when I don't have any input on which the VAT is applicable, then why am I doing so? We will be understanding that also. Last topic we have is about our loss planning. So yeah, very important, very important, which a lot of people will not understand and they'll be just quitting it. So what's loss planning? So Olma, a person, yeah, she will prepare her financial accounts. Just understand for how many days or how many months. Olma will prepare her first accounts for the period of 6 months. That is ending on 30 June 2023. If you see 6 months, it's from 1st Jan 2023. So she's going to prepare some accounts. And then annually to the 30 June. So after 1 year, like every year, she'll prepare. Okay. She's expecting to make a loss in the first 5 months of the trading and requires advice on the reliefs available. So yes, over here we know a lot of reliefs which are there, particularly for the loss making companies. Yeah, so we have to apply some reliefs also. And along with that, if you see, for the first year they have taken only for 6 months, and from the next year it will be one year they will be considering it. Okay. Olma's budgeted adjusted. Okay, so just read it. Olma's budgeted tax adjusted trading profit and loss figures are given, but just see, maybe something is given, but how it is. Olma's budgeted tax adjustment profits and losses are given, but they have not considered what, but before deducting of capital allowances are set below. So maybe some question will be given and we have to formulate the answer on that. Easy. I hope it's clear. So what we learned it till now over here now, if you can see, I have covered it the first question, but in that some profit and loss stuff is given. So if we see for first 5 months over here, things are given for 6 months, and she is expecting to make a loss for the first 5 months. So maybe for first 5 months she'll be having loss, and for remaining period she'll be having profit. So what is the year end, students? My year end is on 32. So if you take for 6 months, we know there is a fiscal year and there is an accounting year. So let's see the accounting year from 1st Jan till June. Jan, it's a loss of 12. Oh my god, Feb loss of 12. March loss of 12. April loss of 12. May loss of 12. And June profit of 2000. Now students, why have I not taken July? Because we have a concept of only 6 months. Yes. They have asked us, okay, the situation. Prepare, Ulma has prepared the accounts for 6 months because the year ends on 30 June. Clear? Yeah. So we'll be considering that, don't worry. So with these now students, I have just read. See, I have read only the exhibit 1. And here is one of my disclaimer that whenever we are reading the questions, don't jump into the conclusion. No, no, no. Initially for once, we just have to have a plain reading. It's only just a plain vanilla scoop. Only we have to have a reading, plain reading. Second, I'm getting an email from the manager. So yeah, what they have written up in the email. So let's just read it. So please prepare a memorandum. Okay, I have to make it something. Here, if I am preparing it correctly, I get good marks for communication skills also. So how am I going to report? To whom am I going to give? What will be the scenario and so on. Okay. So please prepare a memorandum for the client file. Okay. Memorandum I'll prepare consisting what works to be carried out. If you remember, we have a question. And these are the 4 things on which we have to reply. Please see. First, please become a tax advisor. If you want to see, I'll just make it okay, I'll just, yeah, just now it's not getting it up. Yeah. Okay, if you can see students, over here we are having a requirements. You can see becoming tax advisor. Yes. Okay, if you can see, yeah, becoming tax advisor was the first thing that they have give. Yeah, becoming tax advisor, then sale of shares. Okay, afterwards what it is, yeah, given the question. Yes ma'am, sale of shares, cafe business, and loss plannings and voluntary plannings. So each and everything, whatever it is given, it is there in your questions. So yeah, let's just start formulating the questions answer. And yes, I'm pretty sure that you will be understanding it very well. So I'm not going into so much of details of what is there in the question and so on. Let's just directly jump on to the solution and start formulating the solution each and every time we will go ahead. Okay, chalo. Now without any further delay, first, becoming a tax advisor of the Olma company, I have already seen evidences of the Olma's entity and confirmed her address. Okay, cool. Explain the matters we should consider and other actions should be taken care before we agree to replace the Olma's existing tax advisors. So okay, now there comes a question. So they have to, okay, if you are replacing a tax advisor, so do you have to go ahead anyway? So students, just give me a minute. So yes, students, so over here they have formulated something and we are going to draft the answer accordingly. Okay, so the first thing, becoming the tax advisor to Olma. So I have to advise Olma about something. First, I have already seen evidences of Olma's entity and confirmed her address. First, explain the matter we should consider and take an actions we should take before we agree to replace the existing advisor. Okay. So students, you know one thing, I'll just explain you one concept and just if I've copied it and like I will be just going ahead and start developing the answer and accordingly I'll show you also. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. So students, okay, yeah, okay. Students, this is the way we'll start formulating the answers, okay? See. If I ask you, let's say if somebody has appointed me as an auditor or somebody has appointed me as a tax consultant or whatever, consultant, should I just start doing the work? Do you think? Is it professionally practicable and professionally acceptable also? So first of all, I need to go to client. I need to have a word with the client. Before I accept any sort of work, yeah, I need to also have a word with the previous tax advisor. That was things very fine? Why did your previous tax advisor left your company? Yeah, we should know all these concepts also. Why are we so much of into? Okay, what previous auditor did? Oh, what? Like, why will I be considered? Ari Baba, what if there were certain frauds? What if there was such a misfortune with that person? And maybe that cannot be repeated. Like, we need to have, no objection thing. So to have a no objection thing, guys, to have a no objection thing, we need to work very well, don't you think? So yes, we have to have a word and that too very precisely. So students, before I go ahead, I have to start formulating the answer. I have, suppose over here, I am in the position where I have to start developing a situation and let's see what is the first question that they have asked us. Okay, this is the situation. I'll go ahead with the over here requirements. What is my first requirement? Prepare a memorandum as requested in your email. The following marks are available. Becoming the tax advisor of Olma. So before I go ahead, students, we need to know that before I explain things, my first situation is to write a proper report. If I want to proper report about the Olma, start writing about the memorandum. Okay. So I'll be just putting it up over here with the memorandums. So yeah, over here the Olma, over here memorandum. See students, I may take up some time, but obviously this is very beneficial for you. Why am I writing this for the first? You will be noticing it, ma'am, I never used to write, but I am writing it this time just because I want you guys to know how I am going to present the answers. So as to you also have to present the same way. Okay. What about Olmas first? We have to write a report or something. So if I want to write it, what is the way I'll start formulating? I have to give some annotations. So yes, memorandum to what? To, guys, learn it if you want. This is the format you have to write it, yeah? To the files. Yeah, this is the way you write it, okay? To the files. And from whom? I am maybe the tax, yeah, from whom? Yeah, we are the tax advisors and the tax supervisors. So the tax, to the tax supervisors, who is my client and whose things I'm going to represent. So I'll represent my client, I'll represent the date on which I've started, and then I'll start formulating the answers. So first of all, I'll be just writing it up over here, my client. So what I'll be doing about my client? So personal tax affairs I'm going to consider. So clients, that is Olmas, yeah, personal tax affairs. Yeah, I'll just remove my bangle because it is any which ways creating a sound which I'm not at all okayish with. Okay, and last it's over here the date. Okay, and today's date, whether they have given any sort of dates to be mentioned. Yeah, so if you would have seen in the question, today's date is 1st Feb. So 1st Feb 20, yeah, 23. I will be just writing that way. Okay. So this is what is your first point to be written, and guys, here you get 2 marks. Yes, just to write this much you get marks. Now, first of all, I want to be the advisor of Olma. Okay, if I want to be the advisor of Olma, what are the things I should consider? What are the matters I should consider? So, what is my firm doing? My firm is also accepting some code of ethics, right? Okay, I'm just making it smaller. I'll just close it. I'll just show you the requirements. becoming the editor. And over here, if you see, state what is meant by the term professional behavior in the code of conducts about the ACCA. Okay, so I have to also analyze how will I formulate the answer. So okay, without any further delay, let's just start understanding, okay, how should my firm